watch out, okay? I don't want you falling in. Maybe we won't have as much time as we thought. These guys are taking a while to come in. Akira. Testing. Good morning, everybody. We'd like to invite everybody to please take a seat. I would also like to invite everybody to basically finish their social chatting on their cell phones and things like that. That would be great. Okay. So first and foremost, of course, good morning to you all. Good people, good people. Okay, as you guys know, I'm Lawrence Myers, and I'm the Service Learning Coordinator. And about, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 months ago, I had a parent come up to me and say, hey, I have an idea. I was in Cambodia lately, and I saw something that really kind of changed my life. And that parent is with us today, and I'd like to, before I introduce anybody, say a big, big thank you to Mr. Alexander Van Wright and his wife Heidi, who are over here on the side, for being basically the connectors of this experience. So thank you so much for doing all you've done. Apart from that, this week we're very fortunate to have a person who's made a big life commitment and a big change in his life. Actually, 2 of them. But today really is about making connections and about personal stories. And I'm always really big on personal stories. You can't go wrong with a personal story that you can connect to and really make sense to you. So I wanted to take just a moment to introduce you guys to Mr. Bill Morris. Bill Morris was a person who's been working with Akira for quite a while now, and who will do the official introductions if you like. So please give him a round of applause. And he's worked quite tirelessly, at least in putting this together, so I appreciate that effort on that side as well. And so take a little bit to just listen to the stories and listen to the connections that are made. From our side, we talk about being contributors, global contributors to a rapidly changing world. But we're also very fortunate to be living in Dubai, a place that's relatively safe. And we're also fortunate enough to go to a school such as this, where things are relatively safe and we have a lot of support to make sure that we are successful in what we do. Not everyone shares that story, but it doesn't mean they can't make the best of their circumstances. And I hope that this will be a beautiful sharing of information so that you can recognize that even people who might be in difficult circumstances can make the best of what they have. So one more round of applause and I'll hand it right over to Bill.
So today, Bill. My name is Bill Morris. That was, I said hello in Khmer, the Cambodian language. We're here, my friend Akira and I are here this week to speak to you guys about the work that we do in Cambodia and who is going to carry on this work when we are gone. This picture here is of Akira in 2010 removing an American anti-tank mine from the ground in his country with a hunting knife. We still have perhaps 5 million landmines left in Cambodia today. I'll be speaking to the 9th grade class, but for the rest of you, I was a school teacher. I was an officer in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. I did my time in the United States. I didn't have to go to Vietnam. I was an anti-war activist, demonstrating in the streets against the war. Some of you in your history class probably heard of a guy named Richard Nixon. I ran the campaign for the guy who ran against him in part of the state of Georgia in 1972. And the Vietnam War and Cambodia was a very big part of my growing up. In 2003, a friend of mine, I was a businessman in Los Angeles, and a friend of mine asked me for $100. He was trying to raise some money to buy a mine detector for Akira. And I looked at him and said, what's an Akira? And he said, he's a Cambodian guy who clears landmines with a stick and a pair of pliers, and he's caring for a bunch of wounded kids. And I laughed at him and said, where's the scam? What's in it for him? Said nothing. I read his story. Having been so involved in all of this stuff for so many years when I was your age, we all wanted to go to college, because if we didn't, they drafted us and sent us to Vietnam. And many of my friends died in the jungles of Vietnam. Akira was stolen from his family when he was 5 years old and became a child soldier at 10, and he'll tell you about that. I read Akira's story, and my wife and I decided we needed to meet this guy. So we got on a plane and we flew to Cambodia looking for him. We found him in a collection of small buildings along the Siem Reap River. He was clearing landmines with a stick and a pair of pliers, homemade tools, and he was caring for 18 wounded kids, all of them landmine victims. This is 2003. All of them landmine victims wounded from a war that we are taught ended in 1975. The Vietnam War is killing people in Cambodia every 4 days. It has not ended. And it is up to us to make sure that we put an end to this problem, not only in Cambodia, but around the world. I asked him how much money it cost him to clear landmines for a month, and he said $500. I had my own business in America. $500 was not an insurmountable amount of money for me. So I said, we raised $1,000 from friends, and we said, we're going to start a charity to support your work. And Akira looked at me and sort of rolled his eyes. I said, you've heard this before? He said, yeah, but people go home and they have a life and they have things to do. And I said, no, we're gonna do this. So we started working with him. We started raising money to help him work. In 2007, the government required him to get a license, and Akira asked me to come over and help him work on the paperwork. He said recently in a movie that we do that talking nice to the power people is very stressful. That we said, more stressful than the war? He said, the war was very easy, but talking to the bosses, that's not easy. I don't like to do that. So I came over to work with him. I figured I was an American businessman. What can't we do? So I came for 3 weeks, and I wound up there for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, my wife was a school teacher. We lived in Palm Springs, California. She came over and said, do you ever think of moving to Cambodia? I said, yeah, I think about it every day, but I never had the nerve to bring it up. She said, I can teach school anywhere. So she left her teaching job. We locked up our house with the sheets on the bed and the dishes in the cupboards. We put our dog on a plane, and we flew to Cambodia for 2 years, and that was 8 years ago. 4 years ago, we went back home and sold the house and everything else, and we're in Cambodia permanently. The problem in Cambodia is not going to go away. It's getting better. We've gone from 6,000 landmine injuries in Cambodia 20 years ago, that's every year, to 87 injuries last year. Huge improvement. So they said before, we're only blowing someone up now every 4 days. Cambodia is the size of Missouri. If we were blowing someone up in Missouri every 4 days, I'm pretty confident the American Army would be in Kansas City marching to St. Louis. This problem is going to go away when the people of the planet decide they want to see it gone. Nobody's going to Washington. We got some Canadians here too, right? And some people from Germany. And nobody's going to Washington or Ottawa or, I always want to say Bonn, but I'm dating myself, to Berlin somewhere and saying, please raise my taxes so I can give the money away to a country that, most people can't find on a map. This problem's going to be solved by you and I. At the end of World War II, we cleared 95 million landmines in Europe, and we did it in 6 years. We worked in Cambodia for 25 years to clear 5% of that number. This is not a technology problem. We are all heavy into technology. I mean, I will be 70 years old next year, and the stuff you guys are doing today wasn't even in anybody's, wildest dreams when I was a kid. But technology is not solving every problem in the world right now. We have the ability to clear landmines, and it's basically a manual problem. It's not going to be solved by the people who planted the landmines. They're dead. It won't be solved by me and Akira, because we probably won't live long enough to see the landmines gone from Cambodia. And Cambodia is about number 10 in the world in landmine injuries. There's 80 countries around the world that have this problem. Landmines around the world are going to be solved by your generation. Generation Z, it is your generation that is going to find a solution to this problem. We complain about things that are going on in the world today, and we encourage people when they come to become involved. Find something that you believe in and take part in that. It may be landmines, it may be the environment, it may be something else, but become involved, become part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem. There are enough people complaining about things. This is the American school. I was just back in the United States, and there's a lot of complaining going on in America right now. There's a lot of people at each other's throats, and that's not solving any problem at all. It is you guys who will make the difference. And that's really the message that we want to give you today, and we want to talk about the things that we have done. Akira has cleared 139 minefields. He's got his own demining team now. We have 5 bomb squads. If you find a bomb in the ground around here or back in the States or in Europe, you call a bomb squad, they show up in a half an hour. You call a bomb squad in Cambodia, they show up in 2 years. So we don't have the money to put the bomb squads in the field. We've cleared 139 minefields. We have 5 bomb squads working in the country. We've blown up 10,000 landmines. We built 21 schools for 3,000 children in very remote areas of Cambodia. Now, these villages have no electricity, they have no running water, they have no road access for about 6 months out of the year. These are really, really rural schools. We've been able to do all that with the support of people from around the world, people like you, who are making a difference. He is going to be clearing landmines for the rest of his life. I will be working to help him clear landmines for the rest of my life, and we are here to talk to you about how you can become part of the solution for this problem and many, many other problems around the world. I'm going to turn this over to Akira right now and let him tell you a bit about his story and how he became involved in this kind of stuff. So please say hello to Akira.
Yes, hello, my name is Akira. I'm from Cambodia, and I do work clearing landmine every day now, and also landmine museum, and build a school for the poor small village after clear landmine. And I used to lay landmine also in the war in 1980 to 1990, when I have no choice in that time. And I born in 1970, but my birthday I don't remember. And about 5 years old, I lost my parent by the Khmer Rouge. So I live with the Khmer army in the camp in the jungle with many hundreds of children taken care by Khmer adult women army. And a lot of my friends, they are die in that time with fighting, killing land by blow up landmine or very sick in that time, malaria, dengue fever. And I am lucky that I am survived now. And 1980, a lot of Vietnamese come to fight against Khmer Rouge in 1979, and I was about 10 years old. I don't understand why we have war in Cambodia and what happened. I never go to school. I don't understand the world. We have different countries, speak different language, and they never teach me. So they choose the children, girl or boy, stand up, they put the same size of gun AK-47. They said you can be the soldier. If I say no, I run away, they kill me. So I have to say yes. And when they teach how to use the weapon, they have landmine, hand grenade, mortar, rocket, a lot of different guns. All is real. And the Khmer Rouge, they tell me Vietnamese bad. They come to Cambodia, they want to kill Cambodia, to take country. They are like a giant robber. And Khmer Rouge is good. You have to work, join with them to against Vietnamese. So I am say yes, okay. And in that time, my first time to be a youngest soldier, I don't know how to fight. When the army fighting in front of me, they are busy. I held them behind to carry the bullet or water, food, and support them behind. And then I do hunting also for them. And after they teach me how to lay landmine, to make booby trap, to protect from Vietnamese. So I am happy to be the soldier because when I done become the soldier, I have no enough food, I have no power. When I have a gun, I am a soldier, I have power, I can choose what I want, shoot animal, chicken, or what I want to have enough food, I can, because happy in that time to be the army. And we play gun, we play mine, we play grenade, look like toy, and very happy to fight. Yeah, especially at night time when I go to fight with them. We shoot a lot of machine gun, RPG, rocket mortar, small machine gun or big bang with RPG-7, and we hear like a music or drum and see very good light at night, and we just smile and happy like that because young children army in that time. And after 1986, I was cut by the Vietnamese army, and then I have no choice. I have to work for the Vietnamese army against Khmer Rouge also. And sometimes it's difficult to fighting. When the Vietnamese, they explain all the children and me, they said Vietnamese is coming to help Cambodia. Khmer Rouge is bad, killing your parents, killing your friend, don't give you enough food to eat. Vietnamese, good people. The Khmer Rouge told you, I am giant or want to rob your country or killing you, don't believe. Vietnamese is good. So I have no choice again, I have to believe Vietnamese. I said, yes, Vietnamese good, I like you. And some of my friends was cut. They asked, "You like Vietnamese?" "No, I don't. I don't like you." And then they bring them to kill. So I am survived. And they make me the same when I stay with the Khmer Rouge. I hunting, find food, and washing clothes, cook tea, and same when I stay with the Khmer Rouge Army. And when I fighting, one day I saw my uncle. He was a Khmer Rouge with me before, and now he is my enemy. In front of me, about 50 meters, I see his head. He don't saw me. I stood near his head. I made few bullets, make the sign. I saw up my hand, but many grass smoke. He don't saw me. He keep fighting with another my friend behind me. And then my friend Vietnamese asked me, "You see that enemy in front of you?" "Yes." "Okay, killing." And then I shoot more few bullets near his face, but not hit on his head. And the Vietnamese said, "Why you are a bad fighter today? Before you are good, in front of you 50 meters you can kill." I said, "Oh, sorry, I am very headache. My eye cannot see, but I am not headache. So, okay, you go back and take tablet and rest. And thank you, I just run." Sometime like that. And in that time, I do lay landmine a lot in Vietnamese army and the Khmer Rouge army also. Many landmine I lay. Yeah. And sometimes the landmine that I lay is kill a lot of animal, civilian people. Yeah. When I stay in the one village, we put landmine protect 1 kilometer away from I stay in the village. In evening we go to put the mine, and in the morning we go to defuse mine, bring back for safety for the village people walking, go outside to farmer grow rice. And we tell the village, don't go out from the morning 6, 7 o'clock. Yeah. And the army, they are hungry. They want to eat the cow or buffalo. They said, "Please kill some for food." And then we lay mine with the pineapple mine, wire, and then the man who lay landmine, they chase the cow to come and blow up the mine, and we just bring it for food. And when we fighting, sometimes the enemy is coming. They don't shoot the enemy. They shoot the chicken or dog. After 1 hour, the enemy left. We said the enemy is shoot your dog or chicken. And then the owner of the house come up from the hole. They said, "What is the dead chicken?" And then they can eat together. Yeah, in the war it's like that. So I understand the war is not good. Landmine not good that I lay. After finish in 1989, Vietnamese go back country. I still continue work for government army. And then 1993, the United Nations, UN, come to make peacekeeper in Cambodia. They explain all the world is different. You have to go to study, you have to go to school, how to read, to write, change your life. You can peace, you can choice. And I understand, so I try to learn by myself how to read, to write Cambodian, English. And I am happy that I can change. I throw the bad thing that I did. I choose the good thing to do, help my country to make safe from landmine. And then I clear the landmine. And also many village don't have a school. They ask me to help make the school for the children. I do it. It's now 21 school already. We make it. A lot of thousand student children learning. And also we helping the poor orphanage children to live in the landmine museum also. So now I still doing clearing landmine every day in Cambodia. Yeah. So, thank you much.
So we've got some time left. We would like to open it up for questions. So if anyone has any questions at all for us, be walking around with a mic here.
Akira, real quick, how did you get started? What started you in removing the landmines? When did you start? What prompted you to start? Was it seeing people being hurt? What was it that prompted that?
Yeah, I decided to clear landmine because after war finished in Cambodia, a lot of more than 7 million landmines left in the ground, on the ground, and a lot of unexploded ordnance, very dangerous. Every year people die, injured, animal, land cannot use. So I understand that I did bad thing in the past, I lay landmine, so I have to do help my country, have to do good thing.
All right. Did you ever see your uncle again after after the incident?
Yeah, and my uncle, after war finished, he come to live with me at the landmine museum. He do a school bus driver for children in the museum, but he died a few years ago. He's old.
He was about 55.
Sorry. What about your past shaped who you are today? Do I need to repeat?
What? Yeah.
I didn't catch that, so.
What about his past shapes
Sorry.
who he is today? What about his past shapes who he is and what he does today?
How did your past help you decide what to do today? I think it's kind of what Akibra said before. How did his past shape what he does today? I asked him one time, when I first met him, I asked Akibra, what do you want to do? We've got this picture at the museum, and right below the picture it says, I want to make my country safe for my people. So I asked him, what do you want to do? He said, I want to make my country safe for my people. And I said, how are you going to do that? He said, I'm going to clear landmines. And I said, well, how long are you going to clear landmines? And he looked at me like I was stupid and said, until my country is safe for my people. There's 66,000 landmine victims in Cambodia, in a country of about 15 million people. So it's like 1 out of every 300 people in the city is a landmine victim. There's nowhere you can go in the city that you don't see landmine victims. And what motivated both of us was simply the fact that this needed to be done. Akira had been a soldier, and as he said before, he recognized the fact that what he had done was not good. I had been an anti-war activist, and I came to Cambodia, and I found out that all of my altruistic motives and everything were selfish. I was opposed to the war when it was my back end that was on the line, when it was myself and my friends that were going to go to Vietnam and be killed. And when the war was over, we all celebrated and thought what wonderful things we had done. And we killed people in Cambodia for 30 or 40 years after that. There's a guy in Arkansas last year who found something in the ground. He threw it in his truck and brought it home and found out it was a landmine buried by the Confederate Army in 1863, and it was functional. These things kill people for hundreds and hundreds of years. So ending a war, the war is only half the problem. Ending the war means taking responsibility for what we have done, and that's what Akira has done, and that's what I and many other people in Cambodia are trying to do.
Um,
Did you begin clearing the the bombs that you had planted, or did you just clear the ones that had been near your area?
I didn't catch that question. I'm a little hard of hearing, so I didn't quite catch that question. So,
Did you start with the landmines that you had planted, or was it just random areas, random minefields?
who put the landmines in and where did they put them?
The landmine in Cambodia put by Vietnamese army and Cambodia army.
They're mostly in the northwest of Cambodia. The Vietnamese invaded Cambodia in 1978 at Christmas. They drove the Khmer Rouge to the northwest, and they fought them there for 10 years. The landmines were put in the ground by everybody. Most of the landmines we have are Soviet and Chinese. We got landmines from Russia, China, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Poland, Vietnam, Cambodia, America, Thailand, Singapore, Sweden. Pretty much, if you've taken economics in school, this is supply and demand. The
Bill,
demand
just
was
for some
there.
context, is there an estimate of how many landmines are in the ground and how many has Akira removed to this point?
How
An
many
estimate.
landmines have we taken out of the ground? About 10,000.
Yeah, my NGO, Cambodia Self-Help Mining, we clear until now 10,000 landmine and unexploded ordnance.
The government we know where the minefields are in Cambodia. The villagers have figured this out. They know that if they walk over there, they get killed. You know, I tell people this ain't rocket science. If everybody gets killed over here, there's a minefield. The government has mapped those minefields. Someone decided that he was going to figure out how many landmines were left in those fields. Nobody makes maps of this stuff, and nobody counts them when they put them in the ground. You're usually in a battle, and you're throwing them in the ground to stop the enemy. So they wrote a statistical program to do it. Pardon my language. The program is called a WAG, stands for Wild Ass Guess. We haven't got a freaking clue how many landmines are in Cambodia, or anywhere around the world for that matter. But the estimate could be as high as 5 million landmines. So they're all over the place.
How long were you a child soldier with the Khmer Rouge?
How long were you a child soldier with the Khmer Rouge?
In 1975 until 1980, no army, but living with the group of the soldier. 1980 to 86 is fighting from 10 years old. So I fighting for 6 years.
Yeah, just one question. How do students usually help you, like, after you come to make these presentations?
One more time.
Like, do they reach out to you to, like, help you with your NGO or volunteer, or, like, how can we help, basically?
How can they help? Well, one thing you can do, how many are Americans? All right. How many are over 18? 18 or over. All right, write your congressman. The largest country in the world that contributes money to clear landmines and what we call unexploded ordnance is the United States. This year they'll contribute about 50% of the money in the world to clear landmines. U.S. has been in a lot of places and they have a lot of responsibilities. Most of you who aren't Americans are aware that the United States elected a new president last year. You've studied him a little bit at school, all right. The new administration has not advised the State Department on how much money they will be giving out to clear landmines around the world. Write your congressman, tell him to continue the program to clear landmines. If you are Canadian, Canada has cut their funding from $50 million to 10. If you're from the EU has cut their funding. Get a hold of your representatives, your MPs, and encourage them to continue the program to clear landmines around the world. Landmines are not going to be cleared. Landmines are going to be cleared by the people who live in the countries, but they're going to be assisted by us. There's an old saying: if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man a fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Cambodians could fish 1,000 years ago, guys. You know, we blew up their boats. We burned their fishing poles. So it is our responsibility to assist those who have the need to solve a problem, to solve that problem. We live in a bubble. I mean, you guys live in a big bubble. I mean, this is an amazing place. Those of you who have, go back to America on a regular basis. This isn't how the rest of the world lives. The rest of the world lives in a very, very different world, and we have the ability to help those people out, and we have a responsibility to do that.
Okay.
So, Akira and Bill will be here all week long. If you see them in the cafeteria and they're sitting at your table, just move to another table because they've occupied yours for a day. But they'll be in and around. But right now we need to dismiss because we have the middle school coming in right behind us. So please give them a round of applause.
If you see us around and you have a question for us, feel free to come over and ask us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Middle school will be right in behind. So.